we got to get this program up and running again. We want energy in the room. When you see those differences when they're training, there's a lot of action. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Shintaro Higashi Show. I'm joined here with David Kim, Mid-Jitsu. If you guys heard the podcast episode before, if you're wondering who is this guy, we just did a whole episode about it. I don't know when it's going to be aired, but very soon you can check that out. I want to talk today about the toughest room in the country. Any questions about that?
Judo Institute.
No, I mean, kind of. All right, so me and Colton Brown. Yes, me and Colton Brown. We were both members at the New York Athletic Club as athletic members for a very long time. We're sponsored athletes at the New York Athletic Club. It's a private club in the city. And you've accompanied me to the Westchester location, right?
Yep.
And these are sponsor athletes. They still do. And they sponsor wrestling athletes, judo athletes, et cetera, and we were on that team, right? As we were on the U.S. team, and they gave us money to travel and compete and things like this. And they have practices, but the practice in the room has been kind of declining as the membership in the judo program at the athletic club got older and older. And then the sponsored athletes are from everywhere now, from the U.S. Some live in Texas, some live in Massachusetts.
Has something changed to drive that?
Yeah, somewhat. So like we had a lot of like a local pipeline, and then we had like a New York, New Jersey pipeline who were on the gate list who could kind of train. And then we had a couple of high level guys that were pretty local. Like for instance, when I was part of the New York Athletic Club, maybe like as an athlete, maybe like 10, 15 years ago, we had me, St. Ledgers, we had Joe Brutus, and we had all these guys who were relatively local to New York. So it was easy to get all those guys in a room and then, have these amazing workouts. And we had a pipeline of local athletes who were very good coming in the room to train with us. And then you have these stragglers from like, this guy came from Georgia to live in the United States. He's coming. This guy's from Morocco. He moved to New York, for the big dream, whatever it is. But he was a junior national champion. So we always had this like thriving room. And then all the current athletes kind of like it just scattered, just the way it is, right? So now the training in the room hasn't been what it used to be. So now this was an initiative to like bring all these people back in.
Right. And this is with Colton, I think I saw that you were.
Yeah, so Colton now has a gym, and a lot of these athletes that are young and up and coming have gone to Colton to train, and Colton's doing a very, very good job, and he's coaching internationally, building up these young guys, running these programs. So now he's pretty local. He's in New Jersey. So me and Colton, we got to talking with, the president of the New York NYAC Judo Club. I'm like, listen, we got to get this program up and running again. We want energy in the room. Colton, you have a lot of guys. Shintaro, you have YouTube and your members. Let's all get together once a month and have a great workout. And then we've been doing a monthly thing, We just started maybe like a month or two ago. So so
you've done it like a couple times then by now?
Yeah, this is the second time we're doing it. We've had this idea multiple times before. Sometimes it happens, sometimes then, but we did 2 back-to-back months, and it was tremendous. So, that's where I was last night.
And is it basically you and Colton sort of trading off coaching, or is it just pure randori? How is it structured?
Great question. Just like Peter, but even better almost, because you're more handsome. And you went to Harvard.
That's not possible. That's not possible. Peter is the man.
Peter is the man. We miss him very much. But Colton is sort of on that U.S. coaching thing. And so it's mostly his guys. So I'm like, you know what, Colton, you run the class. You run a great class. He's got some pipes on him.
Oh, you mean like vocally?
Vocally.
Yeah. Okay.
Big voice. Big energy.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of yielding. I'm more there now to kind of like hang out a little bit. And I want to get a workout in. And then the first one happened. And I was able to kind of just like not do what I usually do at my gym. And just kind of be part of the room and work out myself. And I love that. So I want to kind of keep that going. Right?
Yeah, that must be nice.
Yes.
Not having to run the whole thing.
Yeah. And he was, the first one was a lot more novices. It was just kind of too packed. And then we sort of sent out an email to our guys and, everyone who's sort of semi-involved. Let's just do more so advanced guys. And then it was majority black belts last night. We probably had like 40 to 50 black belts in the room. It's awesome. Right? Mm-hmm. And some super high level guys. So, between the first one and the second one, Colton kind of quickly changed gears and said, okay, this time we're going to do a little bit of uchikomi, some newaza uchikomi, newaza rondori, tachiwaza rondori. It was zero instruction.
So getting after it.
Yeah. And it was just like round after round. We were in there for like an hour and a half, guys just destroying each other. And it was really, really fun.
Can you describe the actual facility a little bit, just so people have a picture of? Is it like Hogwarts? You walk into the club. It's like a lot of wood paneling, and then you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
judo room, that kind of thing.
Have you been to
most people have not been there.
No, have you been to the New York Athletic Club in the city?
I have not been to the New York one.
I got to take you. I got to take you. City. Yeah, so they have two locations, Westchester and New York City. The Westchester location is like a country club, big pool house, tennis courts, all that stuff. On the Long Island Sound. It's overlooking the water. It's gorgeous. It's like a thing that I do with my daughter every summer. They have a spectacular fireworks thing. But in the city house, it's an entire building on Central Park South. Entire building. And they have a pool facility on the 4th floor, restaurants. Everything is just in that entire building. And then the top floors are like, you have the restaurant up there, the solarium overlooking Central Park. You have the hotel rooms up there only for members. So it's like a members-only private club situation. And miraculously, they have a judo program that's been there forever. And they have a judo room on the 7th floor.
Oh, it's on the 7th floor.
It's on the 7th floor.
So you got a lot of guys getting slammed through someone's roof.
Yep. And used to be that the judo room was overlooking Central Park. It was like the most gorgeous, spectacular thing ever. But then the club was like, listen, you guys aren't really even using the room. You guys are in twice a week. Yep. And then you guys can't even fill the room twice a week. Like, what is going on? Pilates wants it. Yoga wants it. We're going to convert that. The members are pushing back. We're going to get rid of you. We're going to push you in the back. And then they actually built out a separate judo room. They wanted us to share with the boxing room. Because two not so popular programs in the building. And they were going to mush us into this tiny thing. And then we fought back. Now we have our own room in the back. We don't have Central Park views anymore. But it's still a really cool facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be in the same room as boxers. Have you ever you've been to boxing gyms? Those places
yeah. Yeah. But I mean, this is the thing, right?
Not great.
No, but it's a really cool facility. They have an Olympic-sized pool downstairs. Actually, I don't know if it's Olympic-sized, but a huge pool, right? An aquatic center. They have massage. They have a billiards room. Multiple event spaces. They have a huge gym. They have a basketball court. The Knicks practice there off season. So it's a very cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the legacy sort of old New York, boys club, right?
Right. And so, do these athletes, these judo athletes, not all of them are affiliated though, right, with NYAC? These are just like because of you and Colton, you guys can sort of put out the call and bring in, whether they're associated or not with the athletic club, right?
Yes. So this was kind of the pipeline. Usually you have the residential members who are just like full-blown members of the club. Yep. Now I'm a residential member. You pay money every year. It's a lot. There's restaurant, food and beverage minimums, all these different things. Assessment happens, you're on the hook. It's like a really, really, really expensive gym membership, and it sucks paying for it. Because now, right, and then the tier below is like the athletic membership, and there's a very, very select few that get this. You have a sponsorship membership through the clubs, intra clubs. So judo is part of the intra club system there, right? They have many intra clubs, like a wine and cheese aficionados intra club. You have like a swimming intra club,
right?
The New York AC track and field guys, and then these intra clubs are for residential members like myself. And I could go downstairs and say, hey, I want to join the chess club. I can do that and pay like a small monthly fee. And now
the French accent club.
Yes, exactly. And within these intra clubs, they sponsor amateur athletes that tend to get Olympic medals, world medals, and national titles. Right. So any Olympic sport has a big advantage in having one of these clubs. And then they take these top athletes and they sponsor them.
Right. And you were involved with that program.
I was in that program for maybe 10, 15 years. And then so when I wanted to apply for this thing, there you go. You know what? We only care about national championships, world championships, Olympics. Obviously, you you're not that good yet. If you win a U.S. Nationals, we'll sponsor you. Was kind of the deal. And I won a U.S. Nationals, and then here I was. Right? But the pipeline for that is the gate list. So you get like a gate pass. You get put on this list to be able to train there, sort of in hopes that you may be able to graduate up into the athletic membership.
I see.
Yes. And there was sort of this limited slot situation, like, okay, you guys get, the residential members are already up here. So you have this many athletic membership slots, this many gateless slots, and then you're feeding that machine. And then you're having Monday and Wednesday training sessions, mostly for the members.
Yeah.
Right. So mostly for the members. You have a bunch of residential members who are generally older dudes who can afford the membership. You have athletic members, people on the gate list, and then people who are just guests who are just like, hey, maybe this guy can be a potential for a gateless pass, gate pass. And they're limited to their like sport, right? So when I was an athletic member, I could use the gym and then the judo room. But the athletic membership, if you have a full blown and if you have the card, then you have more access. You kind of move around the room freely, right? The facilities freely. But if you were just on the gate list, you could only be there, Mondays and Wednesdays during judo time. That's it.
Who runs that judo program when you guys aren't there? You know what I mean? Like, so you have this special thing that you're doing monthly with Colton.
Yeah.
But they do have this, judo practices. So,
They do.
like, who runs that?
Aziz runs that practice, I think. Aziz, Tamak, I think. Those two are the main guys. They've been there forever. Tamak's in his 70s. He's kind of a legend. He was an Olympian for, U.S. a long time ago. And Aziz was a champion from Morocco. But he's also in his 50s, maybe even 60s. So they run their class. But those classes have been very small, like I said, because the athletic members, all those guys are kind of spread out now.
Yeah. They're all playing Minecraft or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe.
Right.
But yeah, we had Johan, who's from Cuba, who's now an American citizen, training full-time at Jimmy Pedro's. He came down. Alex Semenenko was there on the mat yesterday. He's the heavyweight. He's probably like 280. He says he's 260, but I know he's lying, He's wrestling for Brown now. So he's like a great athlete, Division I wrestler. And now he came back just for this because the season just ended for wrestling. So he was back in town working out. And then all of Colton's guys and some of my guys.
Yeah.
I haven't brought my top guys yet.
Yeah.
But like Gianni was there, It'll be good to see, like, maybe I'll bring Gunji there. You know Gunji?
Yeah.
The big Japanese
dude. That dude is big, dude.
He's a big boy.
He's a big boy.
And, he'll crush everybody in there. But this is the thing, right? He had 2 ACL surgeries, so I don't know if I want to expose him to that risk. I don't want him to feel pressured to do Randori with, like, Alex Semenenko, who's, even bigger than Gunji. So I kind of want to, like, talk to him about it a little bit more in depth. Have done a few of these guys to kind of keep him also safe and protected, because it would be a shame to get a third ACL surgery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this goes back to our earlier conversation. It's just as you get older or more experienced, I think you get more sensitized to, the risks involved. You're not just
the risks are huge.
So this is going to be a monthly activity between
monthly activity, yes. And then, for the first one, we were like, all right, I used to be the president too. So I'm, involved in the whole thing over there. And then the new guys, Kevin Earls has always been the top dog running the show. And even when he's not actively president, he's the person, he's the guy, right? So we were chit-chatting about it, and we're like, hey, let's, make sure the first one goes smooth. So I left my camera at home. I left all that stuff. It was just kind of like, let's see how this thing turns out. And it was a great success. I already just emailed Colton like 20 minutes before we got onto this thing. I was like, hey, man, let's pick the next date before this thing, cools off or something like that. And then once we had that date, I would love to like send it out. Like I sent it to my buddy Leo, who was a great athlete and champion. And so now he might want to come. And then, hey, do you know any young guys who are very good that can hang in the room that you can kind of bring? And then Jack Yanetska obviously is one of the best American judokas right now. He's across the bridge, and he didn't come to the first 2. So it's like I could personally reach out to his father and be like, yo, it was really good. There was a lot of 73 guys. And there was a guy from Morocco who's around that weight, who's like $160, who looked so sharp. So like that would be a perfect guy for Jack. So now I can kind of like shop around the local champions and be like, they all know me. So it's like, hey, come, right? And we're going to try to build this thing, make it a thing. If I could kind of have like more access to these guys who now I could bring him on to the show. Now I could show their technique. And I did a little bit of that. This kid, Lenny, he's awesome. He's like a young, athletic, 66 guy. And then I was like, yo, show me your Uchimata on my YouTube. And he was like, yeah, I gotcha. And he showed this deep step, massive Uchimata, so sharp, So like, it's like a win-win because people want to see that. I get to showcase this young kid who's very talented. And then, so now, you know what I mean? So it's a win for everybody. So I want to kind of grow it.
And it's good for the New York Athletic Club, too.
Great. Right? It's great for everybody. And that's kind of where we're going. We've already identified the dangerous people in the room. And we're already trying to like, I did my complaint. I don't want my guys going with that guy. We should watch out for that guy. That guy's over there smashing the girls. We got to do something about that. Yeah. So there's a lot of those kinds of things happening. And I feel like it's going to be really good for judo, New York and New Jersey locally.
Let me ask you this question. When we talk about judo, like in jiu-jitsu, you start out a little spazzy, right? Yep. You sort of calm down over time. And then now there's a much wider spectrum of intensity, right? As you get more experienced. In judo, I obviously appreciate it because, when I have done randori at your spot, Eugene hooks me up with guys who are like not going to freaking bomb me. But there's a lot more tug of war, right? Like people don't want to take that fall. Yeah. And they want to, they're just locking horns a lot. It may be still very technical, but I wonder at a workout like this where you have a lot of black belts, a lot of experienced guys, a lot of good guys, does the timbre of the room change? I
think there's enough of a range, even within the black belts, right? Mm-hmm. There's like local level black belts, and then you have the national level black belts, and the guys ready for the international circuit. So when you see those differences when they're training, there's a lot of action because people are getting bombed. So now all of a sudden, the energy in the room is a little bit different. Yeah. It's not like at a dojo where everyone's a little bit respectful. Let me not finish it. Let me not slam somebody. There's a lot of it like, hey, this guy from Morocco I heard is very good. I'm also a young champion from New Jersey. I'm going to try to smash this guy. So it's not like you see a lot of action at these things. Yeah. And it's kind of a miracle no one got hurt yesterday because it's just such a rough sport. But it's definitely intense. And guys weren't holding back. Tanya Toshi, free for all, big lifting uranages and back arches, all that stuff. So it was really like a high-level judo room. And honestly, I haven't been in a room like that in a long time. Yeah. And it wasn't just Colton's guys. It was... this guy that just recently moved from Georgia. There's these Moroccan kids that are sharp. Like, they're just living in New York. One guy is like, I think like a bellboy at a hotel. Killer, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
You never know, man.
You never know who you're dealing because with. It's such an international sport. Yeah. Judo. There's 50 million people doing it globally. So, you're walking down the street, you would never know that this guy might be a champion. He's driving taxis or something, and you get these guys now in the room. Yeah. And, it really was spectacular, right? It's like kind of unbelievable.
Yeah, judo's unique that way.
And this time around, they were like, guys, we're only bringing advanced guys. Let's leave all the novice guys at home. But I only brought my novice guys, actually. I showed up with like purple belts.
They were the feed.
Belts. Yeah,
they were the feed for these, the fodder for these guys.
But you need these guys to kind of like be exposed to that high level judo, so it really pulls them up. Mm-hmm. And if they don't get injured, and then you introduce them to some of the champions, like I said, hey Johan, I know you just won a European Cup. My guy's a purple belt. Do the right thing here, And he's like, yes, I got you. So like this kind of thing really helps a lot of people. And having good leadership in the room, like me and Colton, making sure everyone's safe, making sure everyone gets what they need, but maintaining that high-level judo standard, I think is very, very unique. And there's just no way with the judo population in the United States to get that many good guys in the room at once. It's like jiu-jitsu also. You could go to the best jiu-jitsu school in the country. It's like, how many of those guys are really champions? What percentage of the room are medaling at consistently at these events.
Yeah.
And you just can't get that many guys in the room at once usually, you know?
Yeah.
I haven't felt that in a long time. So I'm yeah,
You're
it's
excited.
great. I'm excited,
Yeah.
you know, seeing these young guys and I've it felt like I'm the old guy in the room a little bit actually for the first time.
Yeah.
Because the young guy's like, you want to go? And I'm like, I'm nursing a meniscus thing in my knee.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I would only go with the super lightweights or like the women in the room
Yeah.
because of the weight difference. I'm bigger,
Yeah.
right? So I kind of like protect my knee,
Yeah. You're leaning out too.
I'm leaning out. I'm light. I'm buck
Yeah.
90,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
We're the same weight now, me and you.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit lighter, depending on when you catch me.
All right. So what was the best room you've ever been in?
Oh, jeez. I mean,
you're training at Essential, which is a high level jiu-jitsu school. We
yeah,
both do.
I think it's got to be essential. It's got to
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like when I travel. I mean, I went to Checkmat headquarters. I trained
Yeah.
there. I've trained at a lot of different places, but I'm not going to comp class, right? I'm just going
That's true.
to like the normal general population.
Have you done the comp
so-
class at Essential?
No.
Let's do one. We got to do one.
Okay.
I'll protect you. I'll protect you. Because like sometimes, you could get a group, right? And I was just trying to tell this to my friend Leo, who's my age. And I was like, dude, he's like, will I blow my knee out? I'm like, listen, man, we'll work out. Me, you, and a couple select guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell these guys not to chop your knee or whatever your issues are. And they'll
Yeah,
just
yeah.
grip fight with you or hand fight with you, whatever it
Yeah,
is,
right.
Same
Right.
thing. Like if me, you, and then Pat got in that room in comp, we could run our own thing sort of on the side. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're not going to be like messing around doing other stuff.
Yeah, right. You're
But we could go at our own pace because we're all over 40,
right. Well over. Yeah. No, I don't know how Pat
Yeah.
does it. He's done it quite a few times, but
He's an animal. We're going to
yeah.
have Pat on this podcast too.
yeah, Pat's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
You're taking more of a role now in this podcast.
Yep.
And for those of you who missed it, you could go back and listen to, the Who is David Kim episode. But tell us a little bit about you so we get the word out there.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to do it. So David Kim, father of 4. That's probably the most important thing.
Very
and,
important. Very important.
purple belts.
Yep.
Purple belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
Which who knows what that means, but I have a lot of experience. Fighting people off my back. And
And if you want to support me, you could join me on Patreon. We have these membership tiered sort of a situation, and you have more access to me. I get so many messages every day. Hey, can you watch my technique? Hey, what do you think? Is this Uchimata or Hanegoshi? I just can't get to a lot of these messages. And frankly, because the volume's so high, a lot of it gets caught up in my spam filter on the Instagram. And then I generally don't check that. But if you join me on Patreon, you'll have direct access to me. You could ask me questions. We could do one-to-ones. There's a mentorship program in there. So please click through to the link and check that out. And thank you so much to our sponsors, Drew, Jason Levon, Hawkqueen.ai, Elijah. You've been amazing. Please check us out. Anything else about the athletic club thing you want to ask? You got to come now.
Yeah, I do have to check it out. This is like one of those classic New York institutions, and there are a number of them, right? A number of these types of clubs in the city, and because the New York Athletic Club I think is unique because it has such a focus on all the different athletic situations. I mean, there are plenty of other clubs where I'm not sure what they're doing in there, but
let me ask you a
this
question.
one is cool.
Harvard Club, do they have a sports program?
So I think they're well known. They've got a gym. They've got squash courts,
Yeah.
right? I think a lot of people go there
Yeah.
to play squash. But aside from that, I haven't really heard too much about, what else they might be doing. Because, you need the facility. You need the real estate, basically, to have all the different. So if you're going to have fencing and judo and boxing and all that kind of stuff, and the club is not that big, not quite the same scale.
Do you go there a lot?
When I'm in the city, I'll go there. It's like a little oasis.
Yeah.
You need to use a bathroom. You need you're in between meetings and you got to chill
Yeah.
out someplace for an hour. You walk in, you see all these old dudes on
Yeah.
on the leather seats like crashed out.
Yeah.
Like, why are you here? What are you doing? Why are you here?
Is there a lot of
So from that
networking
perspective-
happening? Must be.
For some people, I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
For me, that's just sort of like where I like camp out if I need a place to camp out because it's convenient.
Yeah.
It's near Grand Central for me. So
Yes,
it's just a
yeah.
couple avenues over.
Is there a space in there that can hold mats? They must have.
Well,
a
yeah.
gym.
I mean, they hold events all the time.
Yeah,
there,
all the
right,
time,
and it is very nice. And they have like other meeting rooms and stuff like that. So so technically yes.
Yes.
But in terms of having like a dedicated, I doubt that they would dedicate space to.
We should do a grappling event there.
That would be interesting. Create a little interest group, a little interest group there. And see who's grappling. The thing is, in New York, I feel like anybody who's grappling that's an alumnus is probably at your spot. At Kano, maybe they're already a member of the athletic club. Like they're at Marcelo's. They're doing
their thing.
They're doing the grappling at the grappling spots.
Yeah,
and they're probably coming to the club for different.
Would be
reasons.
cool though, right? If we were just all like
it
go
would
to
be
the
awesome.
Harvard Club Judo Jiu-Jitsu kind of like symposium or something.
It would be
That could be
cool.
fun.
It would
Yeah.
definitely be cool. They definitely make you pay for it, but I think.
I
it
bet
would be
you.
cool.
So, how expensive do you think it is to rent an evening like there?
I have no idea these days, but I'm sure it's not cheap. I'm sure it's not cheap. But if it's like an alumnus interest group thing,
Yeah,
you never know. It might be.
That's true.
There might be
Yeah.
some kind of
do you
consideration.
know any
to it.
other guys who went to Harvard that are grapplers?
It's funny because my reunion is coming up, and I sent
okay.
out a message and I said, "Hey, does anyone here practice jiu-jitsu? Because maybe we can hit an open mat because there's a place in Cambridge that's like there's a jiu-jitsu spot near there, and they actually have a jiu-jitsu club, right, which I visited, and it was crickets. Nobody
Crickets.
came back.
I know two grapplers
crickets.
who went to Harvard.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
wrestlers or
One of
judo
them,
guys?
yeah, he didn't wrestle in college, but one of my financial advisors, he started like a fund, like a financial advisor firm, and he went to Harvard, and we were on the same wrestling team together.
Oh,
and then,
okay.
Yeah, and then my buddy Ryu Goto, he's like was the
right.
violinist.
Yeah, right.
Who did a lot of karate, but did judo at my club for a little bit. Yeah, so there's
I would love to.
right
I would
there.
love to catch up with. I would love to meet some more guys. I was thought there's got to be someone in my class that does this, but it's just been crickets. So who knows?
Well, David, thank you for being here. Thank you for being on the podcast. If you want to contact David, or you can find him on Midjitsu, he's on Instagram. And I'll see you guys soon.